Hello, good morning, Shabbat Shalom. We are very happy to be here with you today. Do you get the sound coming? Good morning, Aniola, Cindy, Adi, Shalom Shalom. Welcome, new friends on the chat, meaning there are new friends on the server. Shalom Shalom and Shabbat Shalom. How was your week? Would you like to share with us a moment in the previous week? Adi, Cindy, Aniola, you are all welcome to unmute yourself and to share a moment or something that happened in the current days. It is an open platform and everybody is more than welcome to share their moments if you wish. Adi asked today a beautiful question about a verse in Genesis. What is the meaning of the verse? And the Spirit of God is hovering above or upon the face of the waters. Adi asked particularly the term in Hebrew al pnei, which we can translate it upon the face of, or above the face of, or above the inner. This is a very beautiful question because the question is itself, yes, hooks this moment that in a way consciousness is always there. In the absolute, this is, and the Spirit of God is hovering. Usually the English Bible translated, as far as I read, in a past form, like to say this has only happened. No, this is happening, and the Spirit of God is hovering. So the absolute is always there, the unmanifested. What is the absolute? The unmanifested energy. Do we understand that concept, that it is always there inside of us? Do we understand this notion that there is no agency outside of us? There is no God or universe outside of us. Do we understand that? So now the question is, what is the meaning of the verse? And the Spirit of God is hovering, ורוח אלוהים מרחפת, מעל פני, or here it's more accurate, על פני המים, על, above the face of the water, if water is time. Now, usually when people speak about time, what people think about time? That time is a thing. Yes, people take or consider time as a thing, is, so to speak, an object. But time is not outside of us. Do we understand that? The time is not outside there. What does it mean that time is not outside there? Time is not, usually people look at the clock, at the watch, yes, to see what the clock says about the time. But is there a time outside of us? This is the question. So, we return to the verse, ורוח אלוהים, and the Spirit of God is מרחפת, yes? ורוח אלוהים, I will write a Hebrew, ורוח אלוהים מרחפת. One second, I'll bring also the verse from the Bible. We shall see that. מרחפת, yes. With a nikud, yeah. ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים at the current moment. Now, it is happening now. Yes, the Bible is not a history book. It did not happen in the past. This is happening now. And the Spirit of God is hovering above or upon the face of the water. There, in a way, like three things here. The Spirit of God is hovering now. This is one thing. It is happening in this moment. It is above us. The unmanifested energy or the source is always with us. In a way, asked to be manifested. Yes, and in our action or in our in the moment, we realize what this unmanifested energy wants. Do we understand this concept? That there is no God somewhere on Mars, yes, or on Neptune. The infinite or the absolute is always with us, hovering above the face of the water. Water is time. Or we can take water as water is also, when we look at the water in the lake, we can see a mirror. Yes, the water are reflecting something. Yes, so the Spirit of God, the unmanifested energy or the source, is always hovering above the face of what? The water, or what? The time, or what? Us. Us. So in a way, there is no separation. We feel, because we were told, yes, that our body was born at a certain date, at a certain time. So according to this information and what was followed those stories that abide to this birth, we grew to believe that we are separated entities. How can we prove it? Each one was born in a different day, in a different time, in a different season, in a different continent, and so each one has a different story. Therefore, I'm separated entity. And this verse says, in a way, please pay attention. Shalom, Abigail. Good morning. What this verse says, ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. And the Spirit of God, the absolute, the nomenon, is hovering above the face of the water. When face is not just a plastic face, panim, it means inner. The inner, yes, the inner of us. So the inner of us, the being, is always being hovered. Yes? Do we understand this relation? But we grew to believe that we are separated entities. Yes, and the being is hidden. Also, the Spirit of God is hidden because we are persona. We have a name, we have an address, we attend certain kind of work or job or occupation. There's a story. So all of this beautiful expression, and the Spirit of God is hovering above the face of the water, is what is hidden from us. What hides this verse? The fact that we are a persona, that we have a name, there's address, and so there's a story. I have to become someone. I have to be the greatest what? Architect. I have to be a greatest doctor. Yes? And all of this, I have to become someone or become famous. People have many kinds of ideas about what they have to become in this life spent. So all of this is hiding the fact that the Spirit of God is hovering above the face of the water, is always with us, is us, not just with us, but is us. So what the birth does, the information about birth does, in a way hides this notion that the Absolute is us, not just with us, but is us. The birth, in a way, what? Denies. Because the birth is now. There's a body, there's a name, there are a couple of people taking care of this baby. Nothing was before. So the question is, each one that attends this conversation, also on YouTube, has a birthday somewhere. He or she was told that he or she were born somewhere. Yes. The question is, where were we 100 years ago? Where were we 100 years ago or 100 years ago? Where were we before a birth had occurred? Where were we? Or who? And this is the great question. Who were we? Any answer? Just a little story. A couple of years ago, our relatives in Germany, there was a birth, and we went to visit the family in relation to the birth, and the mother was taking the baby in this baby's wagon to the supermarket, and for a moment after the birth, I think it was 4 weeks, yes, and she pondered while walking with the wagon, where was the baby before he was born? And I said, this is a very interesting question. But immediately they had or continued to the next thing, not to ponder about this question. Where was the baby before he was born? Or where was the baby before he was conceived in the mother's womb? Where was he? Now there's a child, 7 years, yes, walking somewhere, playing. But where was he before? Or where all of us were before the birth had occurred to the bodies which we believe this is us? Where all of this? Where is it? And why, this is another question, why do we believe that we are so limited in time, in space, in our capabilities? Why do we believe that we are less? Why all the time we are on a hunt or on a run? Why is that happening to us? Why do we believe that we lose something? If only we shall reach the next city or the next destination, our life will be better or improved. Why life is not excellent as it is? Because, and this is the great, in a way, notion, that if the manifest, the absolute, yes, or the source, wants something to appear and to be recognized, it will come. We don't need to chase it. Yes, we could say, we could hunt the ball, let's say, or let the ball comes to us. When the ball comes to us, we see the motion of the ball in the air, and we, in a way, plan or make a space, and then it comes because there's a space. Because in a way, we're not out there. Yes, it comes to us. Yes, Eniola? 100 years ago, we were in the same place that we are now, hovering over the face of the waters. Our forms were in the divine imagination. Yes. Yes. So in a way, there is no need to be angry, nervous, anxious about things that we shall attain or not attain. Though it might be, yes, people think that if we speak about those things, we shall always be in a way not be moved by things. But sometimes we can sit or do something, and happiness appears, or rotation appears, or anger appears, but it is only appearing. Yes, all kinds of notions and sentiments might appear, yes, to us, like there's appearance in the sky, suddenly there's a bird, or a stork, or a cloud, or a rain, or a rainbow. Those are appearances. It comes and goes, but it's not the quality of the skies or of the heaven. This is only what? A background. So what comes through us, through the days, through the moment, is appearance of things. It is not who we are. There are certain cultures that I mentioned before, that in those certain cultures it is unthinkable to be angry, because we don't have control. Sometimes anger appears. Anger is like the source of anger is fire, so it appears. In certain culture, it is considered to be shame to be angry. So there is, in a way, putting this down, not relating to this, it's like dishonorable. But anger rises, acknowledge it, and then it moves away. To put it down, yes, and to say it never happens in our house, in our country, in our culture, is in a way to deny what is happening. Because this is also a manifestation, like a cloud, like a flower, like a butterfly. So what people do usually, if they notice an anger, and I speak about anger because this is interesting seed, because what nourish anger is fire. So people tend to push it down and to go to a psychologist and say, hey, I had an angry moment, I have to take care of it. No. Is nothing wrong if it appears. Let it be, and it will move away. And sometimes happiness comes, yes, sometimes joy, sometimes laughter. All of those things are manifestations or appearances. Yes, this is not a declaration of independence. It doesn't, in a way, how can I say it in English? It does not identify us, those moments. Yes? Yes, Cindy? What about the commandment, honor father and mother? What does this mean, or do not commit? Yes. No. Yes, we discussed this before. Yes. Felipe is here to testify that the question always comes is to, how do you say, respect all former occurrences, yes, in time that brought this life. To respect all what occurs in nature that sustain this life. It doesn't speak about biological father and mother, blooded creatures like bodies in space and time. No. It's just to respect nature. That without this system of nature we could not exist. So it is not biological father and mother. And this is very good that you bring up this question, because I was reading a poetry blog in Hebrew. There's like, sometimes people are writing there, so sometimes from time to time I read. And 1 week ago, I saw a very interesting post. Yes, the title was "Respect Your Father's Son." You open what is written inside. A frustrated father demands in Hebrew that his son will respect him because he is his father, and he demands respect. Because it is written, it was such a ridiculous post, both the title and both the content. Because who lives in this world, who believes in this? But it is a good question, because many people are taking this literally, and the parents are demand respect, and the children are, even if they're adult and parents themselves, they demand from them to be humble servants and not to say a word. Yes, and they put their fear on everyone because they are the deliverance parents. They might be ignorant or so, but they demand respect. So of course this is not the intention. Yes, to respect, this is not to respect the universe as itself. Respect the systems of living gods. This is what it means, systems of living gods. Nothing which is written in the Ten Commandments is personal. It is impersonal. Yes, Yanis, what happens when an angry person becomes abusive? Well, to get far away as soon as possible. Yes. If what nourishes the people is not just a moment, because this is happening. Yes. This is what nourished their days and their years, just to disappear from there. Disappear. Not to be in the close relation to them. Radios, phones, nothing. It takes time to acknowledge this, Yanis. It takes time. Because it might be very close people. Yes? In abusive relations, they might be very physically close. Most of the times. This is what experience shows. But to get far away. Now there is another question by Sydney about the commandments. The commandments seem to protect. No. This is interesting, Sydney, that the way we read it is very interesting, because the commandments are not protecting any distinguished family. It is basically the opposite, because the notion of family, the first cell of crime is family. Yeah, everything happens under the flag of family, and great horrors and crimes are being done under the title of family. Family is not holy. Many people have this, it's a process that people tend to grasp. It is printed in all of us, the tendency to grab the notion of family as holy, and whatever happens, if it's not moral or to the truth, close one eye, close another eye, and accept, because it's the family and this is the way things are being done, and horrible things are happening. It's like a greenhouse. This is the first greenhouse for crime. Look at the Bible, the first family, what happens there. So on a contrary to what people think is to honorable or distinguished family, it is opposite. The 10 Commandments are impersonal. Every commandment is impersonal. It's to take a person from the personal, because personal is under the step of animal. Yes, people who are living everything in personal, they are less than animal. Animal are higher. Yes, in a hierarchy, than one who lives personal life. Yes, Adi. How about the Gematria Alpnei? Is there a meaning? Every meaning that there is, you are giving it, Adi. Every meaning, yes, that there is, we are giving the meaning, yes, to what there is. There is no absolute meaning. Yes, we are giving the meaning. Yes, Cindy. Yes, would mean more about. Yes, 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 yes. That's correct. That's correct. People are, just to say something general about the sentence or the question, people are tend to put their hopes or to store their hopes in physical people who are close to them and known to them than to trust the infinite. And this is the, in a way, this is what people tend to do. They will attach themselves physically to people that they grew with from high school, from family, and they will continue to sponge if they notice abusive behavior or narrow-minded thinking, and they'd rather do it than to cut and go, cut and go. When the baby is born, yes, when there's a birth, whether it's in the realm of animals or in humans, the baby comes, or the kitten or the puppy, they come out from the womb with a cord. And when birth is occurring, the midwife is cutting, or someone at birth, there's a cutting of the cord to say now this baby can inhale in its own powers, yes, and the baby is like independently breathing. This is happening at the moment of birth. Similar moment is also happening in another level. When this baby is growing up to be human, like adult, he or she, and at some point or moment, they understand that they can cut the cord. Yes, there is certain, we are carrying certain attachment, which is, in a way, it comes with nature, but maybe life experience brings people to understand that it's not healthy, not to mention abusive, because to keep this cord alive when it's dead, it's like a hook. When two people are connected, at one end there's the adult, and there's a former generation of family or unwanted relations in the other side. And as long as we are pumping those relations, it will pull us back. Yes. Yes, yes. Attachment is not so much, because attachment, in a way, it's duality. What is attachment? There is young life, let's say, or adult, and this adult attached or is being attached to another person, like he doesn't have a source of air for himself or herself, like he cannot function or cannot think or act in life. Yes, but most people are living like this. Most people feel that they cannot live otherwise. They always living in groups, in families, so to speak, or in all kinds kinds of social gathering, just not to see what is inside. Yes, I was once invited to a birthday party that the wife made for the husband, and they invited many people, and she cooked for, I think it was 40, 50 people, and she cooked everything, and the cake she baked by herself, or even it was over food for, I think, for 500 people, not for 50, and just food and food and food and food, and no relations at all. No relations at all. Not between the husband and the wife, not between the parents that host the party, not the couples of friends that they were coming for this birthday. It was an relationless evening, but with tons of food, drinking, cakes, cookies. I felt so sad, and I left quietly. Yes, so sad, and I just, how do you say, diminished. Not just from this party, and just from those people. You could say yes, the husband and the wife, they used to be a part of like friends from class once, but this is what people do. They continue the same relations without thinking, because it's convenience. It's already rotating, already moving, people already meeting, they're already tripping together, they take the same vacations together, they travel abroad together. But I saw this, and I was so, I don't know, I was ashamed. I was ashamed for the not for the human, not for this couple specifically, or the friends, or the whole set. But it's just a shame for human that this is what humans are capable of. I mean, more and more food to hide the relationless and the lack of intimacy between people. And to answer in a way Cindy's words about the commandments, they are impersonal. The whole sense of freedom, or recognize that we are unlimited and unconditional, is impersonal. Slavery and bonds is impersonal. Yes, and the whole of process of what the Bible describes as exodus, or the relief from self, from the bondage of self. Who defines the self? The first, the family, the first surrounding. This is what it is. Question or thoughts? How is the situation today, Felipe? Is it better in Brazil? I read, I don't know if it's true, about the region that was, or the state that was hit by the great floods in Brazil. I read that the state has 500 cities, and 400, if you can confirm, Felipe, 400 cities were covered with water. And if you can confirm, Felipe, because that is correct, there are 500 cities, yes, and 400 were covered with water. Still raining, yes. And there's a beautiful piece in the Talmud and also in Weinreb books that he brings it, because what is 500? Just we can look at it, because in a way it's an exercise, if we can, to look at it impersonal. The whole happening is like 400 and 500, when 500 is the full hand or with a temple, and the 400, yes, this is space and time. So I thought about this for a couple of days, whether to mention it, this example, because it was published and you confirmed that this is the amount of cities in the region. 500 is the way we are counting the tree of life. Mahalach, the course of the tree of life. Mahalach Etz HaChaim. Mahalach Etz HaChaim, the course of the tree of life. 500 years. So the full hand perspective of 500 years, or 500 parsa, yes, this is the temple, this is the tree of life. In 400, this is the manifestation in time. So the 400 is covered with water. There's a verse of the Bible which is saying the following: V'chamushim alu bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. Usually people translate this into English, chamushim, armed. Armed, the children of Israel came out from Egypt. And this is not about it. Chamushim is like from chamesh. Chamesh is fifth. Chamesh, yes, is 5. So v'chamushim is 1/5, which is 20% left Egypt, meaning only the potential. Yes, finite cannot cover infinite. This is what it says. Yes, therefore the Bible says v'chamushim alu bnei Israel me'eretz Mitzrayim. What is chamushim? Not armed, but 1/5. What is 1/5 of 100? 20%. So to speak, the potential. The potential, or the thumb, is not covered with water. Look at our hand. Open your right palm and see 4 fingers in a way together, appearing in time, and the thumb is vertical. This is the 1/5. This is the potential. Only the potential is not in Egypt. Look at again. Look at your palm. Yes, look at your palm. We have 4 fingers. Yes, like the 4 seasons. All of them are coming at one side. Yes, turning out. And the thumb is vertical. All the 4 fingers are the manifestation in time. This is the 80%. 20% is what? Is the potential. So what does it mean? V'chamushim alu bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. Only the potential is coming out of the water, because it's not there. It's not even coming out of the water. It never ended. It never went into the water. Finite never. Finite is not in the finite. I mean, infinite is not in the finite. Which verse? 1 second. V'chamushim. This is Exodus 13:18. Exodus 13:18. Yes. Yes, here it is. Usually they translate V'chamushim as armed. Not. Rashi says V'chamushim chomesh. What is chomesh? 1/5. 1/5. What is 1/5? The thumb. Because the thumb never went into Egypt. Look at our palm, human palm. Yes? All 4 fingers. This is finite in time, going out. Vertical is the thumb. Never went into Egypt. Never go. Infinite never finds itself in the finite. If you pay attention, also the 4 fingers, which are turning to time and space, all of them has like 3 joints. Yes? And the thumb has only 2. It's like Keter Chochma. 2 joints. The thumb has Keter Chochma, which is what? Crown and wisdom. It has only 2 joints. What appears in time is a 3-dimensional object. This is why we have also 3 joints in the rest of the fingers, but not in the thumb. This is the potential. Also, there is a parallel verse in Song of Songs. Ha'elef lecha Shlomo, ha'elef lecha Shlomo. The 1,000 is for you, Solomon. Ha'elef lecha Shlomo. Here. And 200 is to those who are gardening or saving its fruit. Here it is. This is Song of Songs 8:12. Yes? Ha'elef lecha Shlomo. The 1,000 is for the king. Yes? And 200 is for those who are guarding the fruit of the tree of life. So 200 from 1,000, this is 1/5 or 20%. Again, this is the same ratio. Once we find this ratio here in Song of Songs, and another time we found it in Exodus. V'chamushim alu bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. V'chamushim 1/5. Chomesh only 1/5. Because all the rest is manifestation. Yes, that's correct, Yanis. This is the ratio. So this is a proof. Look at our palm. Yes, look at the thumb. All the four fingers will tell us you have to be there, you have to become the great doctor, the great architect, the great teacher. And the thumb is always there, standing. Never goes. I mean, he's not going anywhere, just standing vertical. When all the rest of the four fingers are what? Horizontal. Cindy? Yes, 10%. Yes. When the system is divided by 10, yes, this is, yes. 20% is when we look at one hand, and 10% is when we look at two hands, and then we have 10 fingers. Questions or thoughts? Hello, Shlomo. We're very happy to see you here. Any questions or thoughts or moments to share? Yes, Cindy, you can unmute. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning. How do you do?
Good morning. Very good, thank you. I guess I will share a personal story, even though nothing is personal. But I guess we have experience um, in what we were talking about earlier about parent and child and stories. And um, in my own life, it's been very difficult with my parents. Um, a lot of kingly behavior, like you say, and you they deserve respect just because of, like you say, giving birth to me or my siblings, and even into adulthood, it never changed. And it is, well, you either have to live the way they demand, or you you can't. And so it was a cutting and going. It was difficult, but there is no relationship because of the demands. But what is interesting is, though there is no relationship between myself and my parents and multiple parents, there is always a birthday text or some sort of communication on the day of birth, my day of birth, or my children's day of birth, and then sometimes on religious holidays. And I always found that interesting and hard. However, it just goes so much in line with what you're saying, these stories and these traps, honestly, that keep us shackled and chained to our worthiness, or our value is in maybe how others perceive us or what others think about us, particularly the people that we formed attachments with, and people like our parents who kept us alive for
They
a
did not.
time.
Cindy,
They
they
didn't.
did not
No, I know.
keep you. No, no, no.
Yes, no.
They did not keep
Mm,
you or not. No, 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 no,
seems that
no.
way.
We are, how do you say, we getting air from the source.
Mm-hmm.
And that,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, it's not true. It is not
No.
true. And by saying those simple sentences, a lot of load will be removed because they don't cause us breathe or heart palpitation, or they're not moving the system within that process the food, or the skin, that the skin is breathing and then we have relief. They do not do all of this. They might claim everything, like Laban says to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters and the son are my sons. You know, they will claim everything. But this is not true. They even did not give birth, and I will explain this because there's a mechanism in nature that produces the next offsprings. It's not something that they haven't particularly. It happens in nature. This is how life is working. Do you understand? And they're not the owner of lives. They're not the owner of lives of yours or of your children. And I'm familiar with the stress which is coming with phone calls next to birthday or holidays, or seemingly have to appear next to a table when somebody's wishing you dead, let's say. And it's good. It's good to admit the truth. They did, you know, they were eating and next to them were children. So this is what nature wants to do, not because they chose it. This is how life is happening. Yes? And once we are admitting, and we can also read together if you wish, Baruch Spinoza. This is a beautiful thing because he was hunted in Holland when he was writing those things, and he for a reason wrote his book Ethics in Latin, not in Dutch, that he will not be, will not be open for the ignorant people to read, because everybody translate the Bible as they wished and the level of their ignorance. So he wrote it in Latin. He says, no body can deliver another body. This is impossible. It is a movement of birth, of new life that is happening through body, but no body delivers a body. It's not. It cannot happen. It just cannot, because the body itself is dead. We say in Hebrew, Adam, human. Without the Aleph, without the spirit, this is only dam, this is only blood, this is only matter. Blood and matter. Blood and matter cannot create life unless if the infinite, in a way, injects. So many parents all over the world are demanding respect and all kinds of things. But they're not the owner of life. They're not the source of life. They're not the owner of life. They're not the owner of the children. Of course, when they pass away, also the illusion, you know, in Hinduism, they called illusion, the sense of illusion, Maya. Yes? And people are living in this illusion. Yes. What is the meaning of dead and alive? Yes. For example, Mot Yumat, Bacharta B'chaim. To choose life is to choose infinite. Yes. To choose life is to choose infinite upon the finite. Finite is dead. Yes? So, to acknowledge simple sentences. The delivering parents, so to speak, biological parents, they are not the owner of life. Not because of them we are alive. And many times, in spite of them, we're still alive. Yes? In spite of, there are many cases that in spite of all what people went through, they're still alive because there's a higher power or higher source or higher plan. So they are not the owner of life, and they can demand, they can live in illusion, but we can what? Leave the illusion and walk, or can never participate. As long as they are alive, it's hard. It's quite heavy, all of this. There is a beautiful lore about a person who was carrying a sack or 100 kilo sack upon his head, and he was walking in India. And he thought, oh, I have to go to, I heard this story today. And he said, oh, now I have to go to Bombay, 100 kilometers on foot, and I have to carry the sack on my head, 100 kilo, it's a lot of load. Only when I reach Bombay, I could put the sack on the ground and have some relief. So he was so sad because he said, until I reach Bombay and until I will have rest, and I still have to walk in the sun with the sack. Only then when I reach Bombay, I will have relief. One day, yes, true, Adi, true. One day, a person saw him walking, and he says, why do you walk on foot to Bombay with this sack of 100 kilo? Here there's a train. Take the train to Bombay and you will have relief. So the man took the sack, put it on his head and went to the train. And in the train, he was still carrying the sack on his head. In the train. The man saw him from the outside and says, why do you still carry the sack on your head when you're still in the train? Put the sack down and the train will take both of you to Bombay, you and the sack. And at the moment that you will put the sack down, you're having relief from the load. It just, in a way, the message is simple. To let everything down, it's a bondage, the bondage of self that are connecting us to certain people, to certain surrounding, to certain happening, history, stories, and so. It's a bondage. This is slavery. Just to let it be and leave it behind, not to nourish it, not to go into these rooms in the mind and nourish them, to give them food and drinking. Just from this moment on, let what was, or whatever, just let their illusion of control be. Just don't participate in it. And and still there's a communication on birthday, it's familiar. Just you chew through it, and then you minimize it to this thinnest moment, but you're not there most of the time. Life is too short to waste on those things, really. Yes. Just to let it, we are not their children. It is something that is hard for human brain to process. We are not. Yes, Felipe.
Hello, Eti. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, good morning. How do you do?
Good evening, Eti. Thank you. I'm fine, Eti. Thanks.
Thank you for the songs, for the beautiful songs. Everybody's welcome to listen to them.
Yes, yes. I was today in the morning. It was, here still raining, and although it is bad in my position today, it was quite a beautiful landscape here in countryside. with trees, and uh, this the music came to visit me. So I just recorded something and shared. And Eti, I just wanted to thank you for this session, and I just related this lore of this Indian story. Many times, people and we as well, in so many cases, but people, for instance, as an example, I would say that people stay, let's say, in abusive relationships, or and then they broke those relationships, and soon after they just meet someone else, a new person, and the story repeats itself over and over again. And people stay saying, "Oh, I only meet those people that are not good for me. They are such and such. They do these things, and I am a victim of those behaviors." And it's really a pattern that repeats itself, and I just think that is, as the story says, we enter in a train, we enter in another way, we go to another path, and still we carry the load. Many people move, to other countries to escape their families, their relationships, their the life that is vicious in a way.
Yes.
And they go far away, and they just keep carrying the load. It's a very, very interesting, and it's a fact. Human make this kind of errors, let's say. So I was just remembering this. Thank you, Eti.
Thank you, Felipe. Thank you. Wishing you well and good life. So, dear friends, would you like to say something, to ask something before we seal this conversation? Thank you for participating in this beautiful Shabbat session. There's a new moon. The name of the moon month in Hebrew is Iyar, Chodesh Iyar. This is the month of healing, considered to be Iyar, from all. The hours of light are longer now. And a great healing for all of us. Toda and shalom, and see you on Monday. Shalom, shalom.